The cosmic overlords got so bored with eternity, they decided to turn our entire existence into a twisted, lethal arcade game called Prison Day. Think of it as a glitchy cocktail of apocalypse-level disasters and OP loot drops where the meta is brutally simple. Clutch the win to snag a massive power-up, or take the L and get your soul permanently uninstalled from your body. Rohi is the only player to survive this 20-year gauntlet, grinding his way from a total NPC to a literal godslayer. But when the celestial bullies offer him a seat at the VIP table to rule the universe, he basically tells them to kick rocks. There is no way he is clocking in alongside the same monsters who deleted his mom, his best friend, and the love of his life. The gods try to flex on him by shattering his home planet like a cheap smartphone screen dropped on concrete. But Rohi just flashes an S-rank item, like the ultimate cosmic Uno reverse card. Forget taking the crown. He triggers his time reversal ability, tells the gods to prep their necks for the guillotine, and smashes the reset button on reality. He snaps awake in a psych ward, looking like he just sprinted a marathon inside his own skull. In this rebooted timeline, the doctors have him tagged as a 24-year-old with dissociative identity disorder, which is basically fancy medical speak for thinking the voices in his head are just a serious glitch in the system. Zero people buy his end-of-the-world rant because they are convinced his brain is just having a massive lag spike. He is stuck wearing a flimsy, fashion disaster hospital gown instead of his legendary endgame armor. But the second his mom steps into the room, his heart starts doing Olympic-level gymnastics. Last run, she was in a coma, kept alive by machines. But seeing her awake and roasting his messy hair, that is the ultimate dub. He crushes her in a hug so intense, she looks at him like he is an alien, convinced his sanity just hit a new level of chaotic. His medical chart claims he is incapable of assessing reality, which is peak irony considering he is the only guy on the server who knows everyone's free trial of life is expiring today. He checks his phone exactly 34 minutes left before the Prison Day update drops. At 6 p.m., to wipe the world's save file, he starts speedrunning a survival strategy for his mom, frantically scribbling down the cheat codes for the tutorial levels, so she doesn't get taken out in the first wave. As he writes, it hits him, she raised him solo after his dad drained their accounts, and ghosted them like a bad magic act. Suddenly, his best friend walks in the loyal tank, who always watched his back holding a bag of oranges, and wearing a smile Rohi hasn't seen in years. This dude got absolutely wrecked in the previous timeline, and right now, he assumes Rohi is just penning some weird fanfiction about sentient squirrels. Rohi doesn't waste time explaining. He shoves the script at him and says, "Memorize this, or you are toast." He soaks in this final moment of peace, staring at a photo of his squad while the countdown ticks to 0. Boom. At 6 p.m. sharp, a red system window glitches into reality. The draft has officially begun. Rohi stares down the notification, ready to dismantle the celestial trolls who think humanity is their personal sitcom. And just like that, he is back in the grind, spawning directly into the center of the game world. While the system tries its absolute hardest to scrub his brain clean, the local software attempts to delete his real memories and overwrite them with fake lore for the Slaughter Company stage. But it hits a massive firewall. The deletion process fails so hard the system basically rage quits the brainwashing and skips straight to loading the stage boss. Rohi scans the room. It looks like a boring office, but it is actually a psychological kill box, designed to gaslight newbies into thinking they are still in the real world. Luckily, his brain didn't get formatted like a corrupted hard drive, so he recognizes the glitch immediately. To clear this corporate nightmare, he has to clap 3 bosses that get progressively deadlier, which is a tall order for anyone starting at level 0. He pops his status panel only to find a whole lot of nothing. 0 XP, locked skills, and stats that make him look less like a warrior and more like an unpaid intern on a Monday morning. The only outlier is a glitched unknown blessing, which is probably the reason he didn't lose his memories. Since he can't fight bosses in a hospital gown, he decides to hunt down a hidden side quest he memorized from his last speed run. He has about 10 minutes before the clock strikes 11 and the slaughter officially kicks off, so he beelines for the special coordinates located in the most majestic place on Earth, the men's restroom. He kicks the stall door open and finds a little urban legend mob called the Scary Cat sitting on a loot chest. But Rohi isn't here to play nice. Our main man hits the creature with a glare so cold it freezes time, channeling pure get-out-of-my-face energy. Before he can pop its head off like a twist-top soda, the feline senses death and bolts, leaving nothing but a cartoon dust cloud behind. The system tries to gatekeep the loot with some find the key nonsense, but our guy isn't here for a fetch quest. He treats the chest like an empty aluminum can, stomping it into absolute kindling with one ruthless boot drop. Bingo. Inside, he scores a trio of E-rank attribute cards for stamina, agility, and strength. He pops them instantly. A level 1 buff might sound weak, but it officially upgrades him from psych ward patient to superhuman predator. Time for a damage test. He puts a fist straight through the concrete wall like it's wet cardboard. He realizes that pairing even a tiny stat buff with 20 years of battle trauma is going to turn this tutorial into a total joke. But he's not getting cocky. He knows he needs to hoard every ounce of power if he wants to permanently delete the evil gods from the server. He barks at the voices that have been living rent-free in his skull since childhood, demanding to know if they're the sponsors behind this power-up. Boom, he gets yanked straight into a void of pitch-black nothingness. A colossal shadow steps up, admitting it's been lurking in the background the whole time. It demands a performance review before offering any real cheat codes. Then, it yeets him back into the office right as the doomsday timer starts ticking down. The system drops a server-wide alert. The boss is online, and abandoning your desk is an instant game over, leaving our boy to lock in and prep for the wildest 9 to 5 of his existence. Now he is tearing down the hallway like he's chasing the last chopper out of a war zone. He's redlining those new agility stats, knowing he has to clear the main threshold before that clock hits 0, or his survival streak gets permanently cancelled. As he blurs past, we spot two brain-dead goons, one rocking a red mop and the other fully embracing the Chrome Dome lifestyle. They laugh it off as some elaborate prank. Our boy breezes past them without even a side-eye, because in this lobby, ignoring the terms of service turns your life expectancy into 0. He slides into the safe zone, the exact millisecond the timer hits double goose eggs, and the two skeptics find out the system has a strict no refunds policy as their heads simultaneously explode like overripe melons. The office drones inside instantly go into full-blown meltdown mode, realizing those floating red digits aren't just special effects, they're a death sentence. The doors slam shut, and the system prompts the first boss event: grab a weapon or get wrecked. The map title reveals Slaughter Company, and the enemies are a twisted cleaning crew that looks less like sanitation workers and more like sleep paralysis demons in jumpsuits. The cleaning captain is a level 2 monstrosity, armed with a serrated dustpan and a steel broom, flexing stats that would make a normie's soul leave their body out of sheer respect. Suddenly, a gym rat with biceps on his biceps steps up, looking ready to punch his way to a paycheck. This meathead has a severe case of main character syndrome. He ignores our boy's warning that standard logic doesn't apply here, already fantasizing about Lambos and penthouses, convinced that landing the first blood achievement will top the leaderboards. He charges in with 0 strats, only to get his head cleanly swiped off by the captain's broom in under a second. The rest of the lobby starts screaming as the mobs advance, cackling about taking out the trash. While the sheep panic, our boy finally decides it's time to punch the clock. He unleashes a haymaker so devastating it ragdolls one of the cleaning mobs straight into the drywall. He drops a truth bomb on the terrified crowd. Stop acting like prey and start acting like predators. But he's not just brawling for cardio. He's farming for that system notification pop-up. In this game, no loot drop means the mob is just faking it. He double taps the monster and scoops up a steel broom and a strength card. He is literally speed running the progression system, stacking cards to boost his strength straight to level 3. He snatches an agility card off a sneak attacker who clearly picked the wrong target to ambush. Things get spicy when the boss locks onto him, thanks to a mechanic gamers like to call aggro management. Our boy calculates the odds and realizes soloing the captain plus his minions is a suicide run. So he barks orders at the noobs. Throw anything you can find and create a diversion. Naturally, most are frozen in terror, except for one absolute unit of a nerd, even while the other cowards try to drag him down. Glasses guy yeets a keyboard right at the boss's grill, pulling aggro like a seasoned tank. That creates the exact window our MC was waiting for. Powered by stat buffs and muscle memory from his past life, he shreds the fodder mobs into scrap metal before glitching behind the boss like a literal phantom. He whispers, "You're trash," to the captain, before delivering a clean, decapitating strike. As the dust settles, the contribution leaderboard pops up, showing our boy dominating the number 1 spot with 700 points. But he's not celebrating, yet he's eyeing the real prize, wondering if this perfect run is enough to snag the S-rank card, number 001, a god-tier power he missed out on during his first playthrough. He tabs over to the global rankings and realizes he's currently the only player on the board, but holding that throne, it's going to be a total bloodbath. This isn't just a local server event. Every human on Earth currently stuck in a tutorial zone is fighting for those same limited slots. His past memories confirm that the heavy hitters and whales are about to spawn in, so he needs to min-max every single stage to secure that S-rank card, number 001. Ding! The system drops a loot box for the boss kill, spitting out some attribute cards, and a rare iron embryo. It's basically a weapon gacha that crafts a custom blade tailored to the user's aura, and since swords are the current meta, our boy is praying to the RNG gods for a high roll. He glances at the nerd hero, realizing that even though the kid's legs are shaking like jelly, he stepped up when it mattered. Our MC tosses him 3 cards: stamina, agility, and and a cleaning card as payment for the assist. The nerd is floored that anyone would just give away free upgrades, but the MC keeps it real. Without that distraction, this fight would have been a total disaster. Our boy pops a strength card, boosting his stats to a solid level 4 across the board. While his new sidekick absorbs the loot and feels 50 pounds lighter, the kid is confused about why he gained experience points. Without actually scoring a kill, the MC explains the mechanics. You tag the boss, you get a slice of the XP pie. Time for the main event, the weapon forge. He flares his aura and pulls. A blue vein sword, a growth-type weapon starting at E rank but packing legendary potential. It even comes with sky-rending slash, a skill that stacks blood energy to unleash a massive destructive wave. And the cherry on top? It unlocks a random new perk every 10 levels. Plus, it's soul-branded, completely theft-proof, which is essential in a world where players would sell their own mothers for a +1 stat boost. It's a solid pull, but let's be real. Compared to his OG Dragonflame sword, this thing is a toothpick. Suddenly, the system blares. Stage 2 kicking off. In the staff cafeteria. Time limit, 5 minutes. Be there or be deleted. Our boy signals the nerd to tag along, because in this game, a working brain is rarer than a legendary item, and the kid is more than happy to stick with the carry. As they move out, the other players turn into desperate reality stars, screaming offers of millions of dollars and lifetime servitude just to get carried to the next zone. Some tough guys try the guilt trip strategy, calling him selfish, but the MC hits them with a stare that instantly shuts down their main character syndrome. He makes it crystal clear, he isn't playing hero. He's here to protect his circle, and anyone blocking his path gets treated like a mob. The duo steps into the cafeteria, and the system officially welcomes them to Phase 2. At first glance, Glasses is vibing with it, noticing the food smells great, and there are no debuffs. But the atmosphere goes from cozy to horror movie instantly when they spot the chef, a towering unit of a monster straight out of a nightmare. MC IDs him as the Executioner, a boss whose entire existence is dedicated to punishing tardiness. They grab seats with 1 minute on the clock. Glasses assumes the lobby is safe since it was a short walk everyone makes it, right? Wrong. The MC knows the real boss is human stupidity. He explains that most people waste time upstairs, arguing over nothing until the buzzer. Right on cue, with 52 seconds left, the hallway turns into a stampede scene, screaming, cursing, regretting every wasted second of strategizing. 10 seconds. A few lucky players dive across the finish line and snag chairs. But the moment that timer hits 0, the slaughter begins. One breathless guy stumbles through the door a single second too late. One guy sighs in relief, thinking he's safe. Big mistake. The chef is a psycho about punctuality and instantly punches his ticket to the afterlife. Time's up, the chef roars. The survivors freeze, realizing their hesitation upstairs just cost actual human lives. No time to mourn, the chef starts chanting, "Eat, eat," like a deranged lunch lady from hell. He slams down trays of neon green sludge. The nerd takes one look and clocks the secret ingredient. It's recycled monster meat. Specifically, the remains of the beasts they just slaughtered in the office. This gross-out fest triggers a special horror effect. Boom, mental corruption debuff. Strength and agility tank by 20%, and spirit crashes by 30%. The system decides to twist the knife with a new rule. Clean your plate, or else. 0 waste allowed. And if you hesitate, your spirit drains at 10% every single minute. Hit 0, and it's a total mental collapse followed by immediate deletion. With only 7 minutes on the clock, the nerd is fighting a losing battle against his own gag reflex. He thinks he's cooked. But while the rest of the lobby is spiraling into panic, our main character just grins. He's already hacked the solution to this toxic buffet. He realizes his E-rank attribute cards are effectively bricked. They cap out at level 5 stats. Since he's already maxed out strength, agility, and stamina, he goes full generous mentor and tosses 2 spare agility cards to the nerd. The kid pops them instantly. His agility spikes to level 3, and he starts glowing with a radioactive green aura, like he just took a bath in nuclear lime juice. The other players watch with that specific brand of soul-crushing regret, like realizing you used a winning lottery ticket as a bookmark. Suddenly, the chef bellows a roar so loud it tries to shake the souls right out of their ribs. He screams, asking who turned his kitchen staff into scrap metal, while the room freezes in sheer terror. The nerd realizes something weird, he's not shaking. Those stat boosts buffed his mental game enough to keep his lunch down. Before the chef can start harvesting heads, our boy steps up. Clang! He blocks a giant cleaver with his sword and calmly says, "Yeah, that was me." The chef calls him a puny ingredient and tries to crush him. The boss pushes forward, and instinctively, the nerd screams, "Boss!" That single word hits our MC with a heavy flashback. Past life check. He built an elite squad back then. They all called him boss. They looked at him like a god. But it's a bitter memory. Every single one of them died helping him clear the game. He stood alone at the finish line, haunted by the why. As the chef swings to dice him up, our boy blocks the hit, and the truth finally clicks. It wasn't logic, it wasn't luck. He survived because he was obsessed with winning. He was willing to burn the world down just to protect his own existence. Playtime's over. He unleashes his true speed and absolutely shreds the head chef before the monster even knows he's dead. Because he triggered a hidden strike first bonus, his rewards get a 30% boost. Score: 2 E+ strength cards. Those can push his stats all the way to level 10. Plus, he bags a memory card and a head chef surprise box. That box is a random 10-minute stat steroid. He checks the leaderboard sitting pretty at 1,700 points. The competition? Sunhai and Liu Yan are barely scraping 300. He recognizes those names, future heavyweights of the apocalypse. Respectable talent, sure, but he knows the evil gods are about to crank the difficulty up to nightmare for them. System alert. Final stage. Breakout. 5 minutes to sprint to the ground floor lobby. Fail, and you're deleted. As they mobilize, the nerd stops him and offers a tissue. He apologizes for being totally useless back there. Our boy takes it. He tells the kid that having a brain is its own superpower. Meanwhile, downstairs, the final boss awaits with a squad of blue aura soldiers who look ready to turn players into appetizers. The boss is licking his chops, waiting for the ingredients to deliver themselves. Don't hold back, he orders. It's time for the final bloody banquet. 4 minutes, 36 seconds on the clock. Our duo is tearing down the stairs. Nearing the endgame, the spectacled kid is spiraling into a full-blown identity crisis. Watching his boss delete the head chef with nothing but maxed out agility, he realizes that while grinding stats is cool, genetics are the real cheat code. Some dudes are just built different, born to be tanks, while others are running high IQ software on hardware that blue screens during a light cardio session. It is enough to send him into a slump, realizing his level 5 agility won't stop him from looking like a newborn giraffe on roller skates when the fists start flying. But he snaps out of it to fanboy over the MC, convinced this guy was definitely Navy SEAL material, or John Wick's cousin in a past life. Suddenly, our protagonist hits the brakes, ordering the nerd to hang back and wait for the rest of the lobby to load in. His mission? Warn the squad about the stage's nastiest hidden mechanic. Hold your ground. If anyone tries to sprint for the exit, even if the path looks clear, the system triggers a fail state and permanently cancels their life subscription. Glasses guy thinks the MC is pulling a noble sacrifice play, diving into the monster-infested lobby alone to save the noobs. Pure altruism, right? Wrong. Our boy knows soloing the boss is the only way to unlock the S-tier hidden loot. Plus, he is headhunting the guy who was the absolute MVP in the original timeline. And trust me, the ground floor is basically hell mode. We are talking 10 level 5 security guards and a level 7 captain blocking the path. These guys make the upstairs kitchen staff look like NPCs from a tutorial level. You need a full raid party to clear this mess. Otherwise, you get swarmed and turned into a stain on the corporate carpet. Right on cue, a redhead enters the chat, looking like he is auditioning for Angry Anime Rival Number 1. This is Sujong. In the last timeline, he was the legendary tank who carried the team. Right now, he is just salty that some four-eyed pipsqueak told him to chill. He decides to vibe check our MC's power level with a sucker punch. Our boy parries him like he is swatting a mosquito. He realizes Red isn't just angry, he is confused by how the game buffs work. Time for a trade offer. Join the squad, and I will drop you a free attribute card. But the real game changer is the memory card. See, the dark gods running this show are twisted geniuses. They wipe your in-real-life memories because humans fight harder when they have something to lose. No memories, no motivation to unite. The second Sujong downloads his past, it hits him he has got a kid waiting for him back in the real world. Instant transformation. He goes from mindless thug to desperate father in a heartbeat. Fists clenched, eyes locking in, ready to burn this office dungeon to the ground. And our MC? He is locked and loaded too. He pops the E+ strength card and cracks open the head chef's mystery buff. He was praying for raw damage to melt the boss, but the RNG gods hand him a massive 3-level stamina boost instead. For the next 10 minutes, this man is basically unkillable. Bonus round. He triggers the Courage Award achievement just for speedrunning to the lobby. That is a free strength level for both him and Red. They stack up at the lobby doors, and the security mobs are already roasting them, calling them fresh ingredients, and taking bets on how fast they will fold. Red is sweating bullets facing real monsters, but our MC? He is standing there grinning like a complete psychopath, looking like he is about to hand the entire security team a forceful, permanent severance package. He launches into the fray with zero chill, tearing through the room like he has a personal grudge against office decor. From the sidelines, Red, the seasoned brawler, is having a total professional meltdown. He is an underground fight club veteran. His combat logic screams, "Read the opponent before you strike." He thinks our MC is fighting like a total bronze tier amateur by just rushing in blind. But our boy isn't playing by standard PvP rules. The guards pounce, eyeing our MC like a weak, crunchy appetizer. A level 5 guard with a nasty pack hunter damage buff takes the lead, winding up a punch, but he doesn't even finish his sentence before our boy deletes his head with a single, surgical strike. Red watches the body drop and realizes the truth. When your stats are this broken, tactics are for people who can't move faster than the naked eye. It hits him if the MC hadn't pulled his punches during their earlier spar. Red's head would currently be rolling across the floor. Suddenly, the system flashes a massive red alert, ordering all players to the lobby for the finale. But our MC knows the glitch. The lobby isn't a safe zone, it is a meat grinder. Stepping into that kill box before the cleanup crew finishes, that's just signing your own death warrant. 49 seconds on the timer, and our guy is turning this dungeon into his personal XP farm. Meanwhile, Four Eyes is sweating bullets playing crowd control like his life depends on it because it does. Surprisingly, the kid's got a big brain play going on. He's holding the line, keeping the mob in check, making sure nobody crosses that threshold until the clock ticks down to the absolute final second. MC clocks the strategy immediately. Turns out, speccing into intelligence isn't such a bad build in this hellscape after all. 12 seconds left. Red, the tank of the group, decides he's done spectating from the sidelines. He gears up to charge, but our main man shuts him down instantly, orders him to hang back and run defense for the squishies instead. Perfect timing, too. Just as a security mob tries to turn the nerd into a light snack, Red intercepts, snatching the beast by the throat. He throws a haymaker that looks like it should delete the creature's entire existence, but the impact is underwhelming. Even with his tank stats, the monster's durability is way higher than expected, leaving him totally shook. He glances over at the MC, who's slicing through elites like they're made of warm butter, and wonders what kind of hacks that guy is running. The survivors are huddled in the back, terrified, praying these two DPS carries can keep them from becoming pavement art. The blue-veined sword starts pulsating with lethal energy, skill nodes flaring crimson. Our protagonist eyes the mob trying to swarm him, and decides playtime is over. He unleashes a massive horizontal slash, cleaving through the entire pack in a single frame, and making the survivors believe a literal deity in a hospital gown just descended to save their souls. Then comes the boss fight. The security captain steps into the light, radiating pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. We're talking a level 7 elite, strength stat at 10, and an HP bar so thick it would make a normal player rage quit instantly. While the noobs are hyperventilating, our guy is completely unbothered. He remembers this boss wiping entire raids in his past timeline, but with his current build, this thing is just a speed bump. He dissects the captain with surgical precision, treating the high-level boss like it's made of wet tissue paper. System notification pops. Level 8 achieved. Strength stat skyrockets all the way to 14, fueled by that massive stack of attribute cards he's been hoarding like a loot goblin. His power level is spiking so hard the bystanders are starting to question if he's even the same species as them. Cleanup time. He pivots to the last trash mob, the one Red is currently struggling to put down. Red is gritting his teeth, winding up for what he thinks is going to be his epic anime finisher, but before his fist can even connect, the MC casually dices the monster into confetti. Red is left punching air, realizing he's definitely the NPC in this playthrough, and that his desperate life-or-death battle was just a trivial 5-second chore for the main character. Slaughter Company beginner stage. Cleared. The contribution leaderboard flashes up, and it is an absolute massacre. Our guy is dominating with a 99.9% contribution rating, leaving Red and the nerd fighting over the scraps. Cut to the lobby, where our MC stands tall, looking ready for his GQ cover shoot, wondering what kind of S-tier loot the system drops for a hard carry of this magnitude. Rewards calculate, and turns out this game has a surprisingly generous import policy. A prompt confirms the deal. Everything earned here, stats, gear, and probably the trauma transfers back to reality. The normies are hyping up their new superpowers, ignoring the PTSD, but our MC immediately spots the incoming headache. Handing godlike powers to random corporate drones? That is a straight-up recipe for societal collapse. He needs to establish a hierarchy fast before the real world turns into a lawless anarchy server. The plan? Use his #1 ranking as bait, to force the world's elite to come knocking at his door. Speaking of rankings, the final scoreboard drops, and the skill gap is actually disrespectful. Our boy is flexing at the top with a massive 3,000 points, while the runner-up, Sun Hae, is struggling in the dirt with just 510. This isn't a scoreboard, it's a declaration of ownership. The system distributes an all-stats activation card to every survivor, unlocking their potential. Everyone starts freaking out, feeling that superhuman buzz coursing through their veins. But let's be real, the power gap is comedic. C1 checks his build and realizes he's stuck at level 1 strength. and level 4 agility. Sujong isn't doing much better, staring at his own stats with pure disappointment, barely hitting level 2. Meanwhile, our MC is strutting around with a strength stat of 15 like a god among insects. With agility and stamina both hitting level 9, this guy is statistically a tank masquerading as a hospital patient. The power gap is honestly disrespectful. He is totally broken. Then, the loot drops, handed out strictly based on performance. The nerd hero is sweating bullets, terrified his 0.0 contribution means 0 rewards. But surprisingly, even his crumbs land him a strength attribute card. The redhead scores even bigger, bagging 2 cards and realizing that throwing hands is way more lucrative than sitting on the sidelines. Then, all eyes shift to our main character, who is sitting pretty with a 99.9% contribution rate, and everyone wonders just how hard the system is about to bless him. The payout is absolutely insane. Our boy gets an item that instantly maxes all stats to level 10, plus a special job change card that could unlock an S-rank class, and a permanent form a team card for summoning players into stages. He realizes his luck has finally done a 180. He can switch classes, build an empire, and power up all in one go. Suddenly, the other players start screaming as they glitch out, teleporting back to the real world. Our boy explains that reality isn't what it used to be, and monsters are coming to wreck everything. He tells them to get on the grind set and stack power if they want to survive the nightmare knocking at their door. The redhead calls it dramatic, but you can tell he is taking notes. Right as the teleportation wraps up, a red system window pops, notifying our boy he just snagged the S rank. Special card Nova 001. The flavor text claims it holds power that literally dwarfs the gods. From the shadows, that mysterious entity from before is creeping, watching him leave and deciding that, if our boy keeps putting on a show like this, he might just gift him some divine power later. Back in reality, our boy wakes up in his hospital bed, praying his warning actually stuck. Nurses flood the room like he is a rock star, and a doctor explains he has been in a coma for 3 days, alongside tens of thousands of people who all dropped at the exact same time. The doc tries to fish for info on this global medical glitch, but our boy completely ignores the interrogation and demands to see his mom. They wheel him to her room where she is comatose, basically a vegetable, repeating the tragedy of his past life. He refuses to let history repeat itself. He dips into his inventory and whips out that shiny new S-rank card. It is called Freedom, and its power is absolute. It lets a user hop in and out of game stages whenever they want, or it can be burned once, to permanently banish a player from prison day. Most would hoard this as an infinite escape hatch, but our boy? Zero hesitation. He burns the card to restore his mom. The room explodes with light so intense the doc thinks a supernova just detonated in the ICU. Defying every law of medicine, his mom wakes up confused. Our boy hugs her, tears streaming, vowing she will never face danger again, while the doctor stands there questioning the validity of his entire medical degree. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is waking up to a new nightmare. We cut to other players, glued to the contribution leaderboards, realizing this Rohi guy is the most valuable asset on planet Earth. In dark rooms, shot callers are already taking notes, scheming on how to recruit or puppet the new ruler of the world, totally oblivious that he is currently busy being a mama's boy in a hospital ward. Our boy stands by her bedside, gently checking her vitals when she starts describing what she thinks was just a vivid fever dream. She talks about a horrific theme park crawling with monsters and people running for their lives. Our boy listens close, realizing this wasn't a dream. His mom survived an amusement park-themed tutorial stage. She mentions that, right as a monster was about to grab her, everything went black. When she opened her eyes, she saw a strange squad, a duo that carried everyone to safety. Our boy realizes that even without him, his mom found a cracked team that carried her through the clear. Suddenly, a shout tears through the ward. Someone is screaming about crossing dimensions. Our boy clocks the voice instantly. It is his best friend, King Zai. Just like the last timeline, his buddy survived the tutorial and woke up with his lungs fully healed. The friend is currently having a main character moment, convinced he is the protagonist of some manga who just got isekai'd for real. He starts yapping about a massive crowd and a legendary duo that led them to the win. Our boy realizes his friend is being way too loud, so he grabs him and drags him outside before the nurses tranquilize him. Once they hit the hallway, the friend looks at our boy and asks if he buys any of this prison day game stuff. Our boy decides to drop the act. He tells his friend that loot can be brought back to the real world and calmly tells him to pull up the world player contribution rankings. The friend is confused, but he does it. He commands the system to pull up the rankings, and boom, right there at the apex sits the name Rohi, flexing a massive score of 3,000 points. Our MC smirks, dropping the bomb that Rohi is actually him, while his buddy freezes, looking like his brain just short-circuited and forgot how to reboot. While the friend is still glitching out over the fact that his pal is the global #1, our guy wastes no time. He is ready to cash in that S-rank payout. He triggers the class change card. In Prison Day, any class is strong, but S-tier? That is straight up broken. He is manifesting a legendary pull, maybe the Elemental Envoy, or the destructively cool Apocalypse Black Flame Dragon King. Even the time-bending Wisdom Seeker would do. But we all know the RNG gods love a good troll. The wheel stops, and he lands on Myriad Novice? Never heard of it. Honestly, the name sounds kinda trash. But then he reads the fine print. It unlocks Tool Resonance, a passive skill that lets him sync his mind perfectly with any weapon or object. That is instant mastery over anything he touches. And the evolution tree? It is wild. Normal classes hit a ceiling at stage 3. This one shows 5 locked stages, all marked with question marks, implying a power ceiling that shatters the game's known limits. A wicked grin spreads across his face. The grind to upgrade this will be hell, but the payoff? Absolute god-tier potential. Suddenly, a server-wide announcement pings his friend's interface. Someone just snagged the world's first-class change achievement. He connects the dots instantly. His bro just made history again. Dignity? Gone. He dives for the MC's legs, latching on like a desperate koala, screaming to be carried to greatness. But before this beautiful bromance can blossom, a nurse storms in. And she looks like she ran out of patience 3 shifts ago. She is not looking for an autograph. She wants cash. She coldly informs our boy that his hospital account is completely tapped out. In fact, he is over a month overdue. The best friend immediately whips out his debit card, trying to be the hero with his humble savings. Our MC stops him, his eyes narrow, gears turning as he plots a quick money scheme, channeling skills from his past life. Back then, he was a top-tier bodyguard for the ultra-rich. He clenches a fist, swearing he will never be dead weight to anyone ever again. Just as the financial tension hits its peak, the nurse's phone buzzes. She answers, and her face goes from get out to holy crap in a split second. She listens, turns pale, and hangs up. Suddenly, her voice is silky smooth. She tells our boy the bill is no longer an issue. Someone just wired a fortune enough to cover his medical bills for the next 100 years. And the VIP treatment? It extends to the patient with the flat top next to him. The friend bristles, offended, clarifying he is not a mental patient. In fact, he is not even sick, but the nurse ignores him. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. 3 figures stride down the hallway. A blonde dude radiating old money, a girl with green hair in an elegant white dress, and a stone-faced suit trailing behind. The blonde steps up, asking politely for Mr. Rohi. Our MC locks eyes with them. He realizes the heavy hitters tracked him down way faster than anticipated. These aren't just rich kids, they are fellow players from the game. They found him. The real-world power struggle starts now. Meanwhile, the best friend takes one look at this trio and realizes his broke boy logic has no power here. Between the bespoke suits and the smell of expensive cologne, these people are basically walking, breathing ATMs. It clicks. These are the sugar daddies and sugar mommy who wipe the debt. Though, he is still puzzled why they prepaid a century of fees for him, too. His only diagnosis is chronic confusion. The nurse leans in, whispering confirmation that yes, the whales have landed. Our MC thanks her for the breaking news with the dry enthusiasm of someone who already read the spoilers, then turns to the VIPs, casually introducing himself. The blonde politician is internally shook. How does a guy in a hospital gown have this much aura? He expected the rank 1 player to be intense, but our boy is already visually doxing them. He clocks the blonde as a massive conglomerate heir and a rising political superstar. The dark-haired guy? A tech mogul who basically owns the internet and has deep military clearance. And the green-haired girl controls enough energy resources to buy a small continent. They try to start with polite small talk, but our boy cuts them off faster than lag on a dial-up connection. He tells them he knows exactly who they are, and he wants to skip the fake pleasantries to get straight to business. The trio realizes this kid isn't just a gamer. He is a shark, and he refuses to bleed the initiative. The heiress looks intrigued. He is way more interesting than the rumors. She suggests moving to a private lounge, but our MC shuts it down. The doctor's office down the hall works fine. He pivots and walks away without waiting for an answer, forcing 3 billionaires to trail behind him like lost ducklings. His friend watches the power dynamic flip in real time. His bro has officially ascended from broke patient to boss. 0 to Godfather, in 10 minutes flat. Suddenly, our main character snaps his fingers at his homie, demanding the cheat sheet he handed off earlier. Bro freezes up, looking guiltier than a dog caught eating the drywall. He stammers, asking if he even has the clearance to be in this meeting. Instant facepalm. Our MC immediately realizes this clown didn't read a single syllable of the survival Bible. That explains why he and mom got 0 starter perks. Our boy is so done, he's mentally scheduling a severe beatdown session for his bestie later. But he turns to the VIPs, assuring them that once that notebook lands, the intel inside will speak for itself. While the poor doctor gets yeeted out of his own office by a wall of muscle, the big shots flip through the retrieved notebook, and just like that, their doubt evaporates faster than spit on a grill. The blonde politician goes pale. Every monster weakness, every hidden rule, matches his trauma perfectly. The tech king and the heiress are shook. They realize everything scribbled in these pages isn't just theory, it's the cold, hard truth. The bestie whispers, asking if it's legit. And when our boy confirms that listening to him would have secured a top spot on the global leaderboards, the poor guy looks ready to launch himself into the sun for fumbling the bag of the century. The billionaires swallow their pride, apologizing for the disrespect. The heiress is practically worshipping him now, calling him a prophet who sees the future. Our boy hits them with a mysterious smirk, but internally, he knows this prophecy is just him memorizing. Sweaty forum posts from his past life. A desperate grind that's now become his ultimate ace in the hole. Finally, the three titans drop their egos and bow their heads. They admit that having their lives hang by a thread was absolutely terrifying, and they'll do anything to survive the next round. They beg him to take the wheel as their advisor, promising a blank check on demands. Our boy scans the room, pauses for maximum drama, and declares that guiding them might be on the table. This leaves his crew staring at him with enough admiration to power a small city grid. Our MC's best friend is literally vibrating, convinced Rowie is about to secure the ultimate bag. In his head, it's all about the cash, so Rowie's mom can retire in luxury. And more importantly, so he never has to clock into a 9-to-5 nightmare ever again. He's already mentally spending millions on a shopping spree when our boy raises 3 fingers. He tells the VIPs, if you want the carry, you got to agree to 3 conditions. The friend nods sagely, thinking his buddy is 4D chess mastering the negotiation to triple the price. He figures his own brain is too smooth for these high-stakes plays. Meanwhile, the 3 billionaires, terrified of the next game, scream yes before he even finishes. 3 conditions? Make it 300, just keep us alive. But when our boy drops condition number 1, the vibe shifts. He wants them to blast the beginner strategy guide across every screen, newspaper, and feed on the planet and give it away for absolutely free. The blonde politician looks like he just watched someone light a pile of gold on fire, asking if he seriously wants to leak a life-saving artifact for 0 return on investment. The tech king points out that the booklet is worth more than the GDP of small nations, and the heiress agrees, claiming it's too dangerous for the masses. Our boy shuts down the capitalist panic instantly, reminding them that the precious asset they're hoarding is something he already gifted them for free. He clarifies that his endgame isn't just saving 3 rich people, it's saving humanity. He tells them point blank, agree to the leak or the deal is dead. The billionaires realize he's not bluffing. The tech king is floored. He can't believe someone this immune to greed actually exists. And the heiress? She's low-key swooning, deciding that a handsome Chad with a heart of gold is the rarest drop of all. They quickly bow, agreeing to make the guide viral as fast as possible. Condition number 2 is for them to take the lead in building a player management bureau to regulate the superpowered folks, ensuring they don't go full villain on civilians. The VIPs nod. Controlling the populace was basically on their agenda anyway. Then comes the third and final condition. The friend is mentally screaming for our boy to ask for billions. Even the blonde politician is sweating bullets, wondering if Mr. Rowie is about to demand a private island or a nuke. Our boy takes a breath and asks for a crib. He clarifies it doesn't have to be a mansion. He just wants to check out of the psych ward and live a quiet life with his mom. If finding a house is too much work, he's cool with rotting in the hospital forever. The room goes dead silent. The friend is appalled by this humble fumble, but the billionaires? They're ecstatic, shouting over each other to seal the deal. They aren't just agreeing, they're practically on their knees, fighting for the privilege to drop millions on a mansion for him. For these elites, it's a no-brainer, a bargain bin price to secure a carry from a literal gaming god. The heiress glares at the other suits with eyes that scream, step off, sugar daddy duties are mine, contract secured. But the protagonist isn't lingering. He's got a strict grind set to maintain, so he pivots back to his quarters. He drops a casual bomb. The timer for the next opening of Prison Day is ticking. The VIPs freeze, jaws hitting the floor, and like clockwork, a holographic system alert blazes into existence for every survivor. It offers a twisted congratulations followed by a terrifying 72-hour timer before the hellscape reboots. Suddenly, those billionaires realize their fancy priority access is just a front row seat to watch their own expiration dates approach. The protagonist vows to draft the ultimate survival cheat sheets for round 2, assuming they deliver the goods. He warns them to hustle during their 3-day grace period. As the tycoons bow in reverence, a security detail bursts and someone's causing a scene, demanding FaceTime with Mr. Rocky. The tech mogul, attempts to swing his big stick, barking that even the feds need to wait in line. However, the guard stammers out the twist. The visitor insists she's Mr. Rocky's main squeeze. The atmosphere drops to absolute zero. His best friend enters betrayal mode instantly, grabbing our hero by the collar, screaming about secret romances. The protagonist shuts that down, stating for the record he's riding solo, zero attachments, zero dates. Denial or not, a girl waltzes in clutching a bouquet, grinning like she's the lead in a cheesy Hallmark movie, chirping, "Long time no see." He clocks her face instantly, visibly disgusted by her audacity. The blonde politician side-eyes the situation, wondering if the rumors are true, while the heiress grudgingly admits they visually match. But our hero knows exactly who this snake is. It's Cole. The memory of her dumping him for some random dude plays in 4K resolution, recalling how she laughed, telling him a psycho like him didn't deserve love. Back in their school days, the rumor mill insisted he was obsessed with her, when really, she was just a buddy. But now that he's ranking #1 globally, suddenly she's decided his craziness is a quirk she can overlook. Back in reality, Cole the ex thrusts the flowers at him, channeling desperate energy like she's auditioning for a redemption arc on reality TV. She swears the blooms are for him, spinning a sob story about how the past was all her mistake. The politician watches the cringe fest, noting that Rocky looks about as excited as a guy getting a root canal. The tech CEO is seconds away from ordering a takedown, but the best friend intercepts. He plants himself between them like a tank, demanding to know where she gets the nerve to speak. After dragging Rocky's name through the mud back then, she feigns shock, playing the "I was just a dumb kid" card. But the protagonist slices through the BS, calling it like it is. She's only here chasing clout because she saw the leaderboards. The heiress, an expert in people using people, watches the scene unfold, and mutters that this girl is definitely pragmatic. Cole shamelessly owns it, then pivots straight to emotional manipulation, asking if he's heartless enough to let her die just because he rejected her. The bestie snaps, correcting her word choice, reminding her she didn't turn him down, she destroyed his reputation. Our hero hits his limit with this soap opera. He silences the room and hits Cole with the cold, hard truth. He never liked her like that. She was friend-zoned from day one. Cole, however, enters a state of absolute delusion, calling him stubborn and graciously offering to become his girlfriend so he won't be lonely. The audacity. As she lunges to seal the deal, the security team forms a wall of muscle. She screams the "I'm his girlfriend" defense, but the heiress delivers a fatality, telling her to check her ego because Mr. Rocky never claimed her. Security drags her out, kicking and screaming about being Rocky's woman, while the best friend exhales, declaring that seeing her evicted was the peak moment of his entire existence. With the trash finally taken out, the protagonist realizes that if the timeline matches his previous life, a very specific VIP should be in the hospital wing. He re-enters the room to find a silver-haired girl sitting right next to his mom. His mom explains the girl was just keeping her company while he stepped out. He looks at her with a gaze full of history and whispers, "Long time no see," his voice trembling with the weight of a past life. The silver-haired girl tilts her head in total confusion, reminding him she was literally there last week. He ignores the logic, his mind flooded with the memory of her death in the original timeline. Her dying breath used to beg him to survive. In this run, he swears he won't lose anyone who matters. He pulls her into a crushing hug, determined to change fate. The girl is practically malfunctioning, face turning atomic red, while mom grins from the bed like she's front row at a rom-com premiere. Meanwhile, the best friend is buffering in the corner, trying to calculate if just friends usually includes bone-crushing embraces. Reading the room and the potential danger, the hospital staff scrambles. By sundown, our MC and his mother are upgraded to a luxury VIP suite. Money really does talk. With his mom finally resting, he checks the ominous countdown hovering in his vision. 63 hours on the clock. Time to grind. Our boy decides to test drive his new class abilities, activating the Resonance of Tools skill. He places a hand on the hospital bed frame. Boom, instant data download. It's like his brain is running a full structural diagnostic scan. He can see everything, right down to a loose screw on the left leg about to give out. Too bad there's no loot or weapons here to test the combat specs. But before he can complain more, a voice cuts through his thoughts, and it sounds hauntingly familiar. It's that same scratch inside his brain he's heard since day one. The voice drops a bombshell. He's finally leveled up enough to face a god's trial. Our MC demands answers. Who is this, and what qualifications? But the mysterious entity ghosts him on the details. Just the classic "you'll get it later." It offers a binary choice: accept the trial or walk away. But our boy knows this is the key to clapping those evil gods. It's now or never. No hesitation. He locks in and smashes that accept button. A shadowy figure smirks from the void. The deal? Clear the dungeon, and you get a ticket back to reality. Fail? You're stuck in the shadow realm for eternity. Suddenly, our MC gets violently isekai'd into a new dimension. The atmosphere is dripping with sacred energy, a level of power that even our experienced MC has never witnessed. But he's not here to sightsee. Our guy is strictly business, and he doesn't work for exposure. First thought, what's the drop rate? The system interrupts, pinging that the trial arena finished loading. He spawns in front of a colossal structure looming over him like an ancient palace, though it vibes more like a divine battery pack than a castle. The shadow figure manifests again to drop the tutorial. Rules are simple. Delete the enemy within 10 minutes. Victory. Then, the entity leaves a riddle. Only wisdom that perceives all truths can claim victory. Because, of course, celestial beings can't just speak plain English. They have to make it a puzzle. No time to complain though, the match starts immediately. Enter the boss. A knight with flowing blonde hair, and a literal human skeleton strapped to his back like luggage. His tag reads, Oathkeeper without eyes, the invincible swordsman who takes 0 damage. The clock ticks, 9 minutes, and 59 seconds. No time for intros. The system spawns a weapon in our boy's hand. Perfect timing. Time to field test resonance of tools. He syncs with the blade, trying to read its atomic blueprint. Error. The skill flops. The system flags the sword as, not a tool, it's just a rendered illusion with no substance. If the gear is fake, there's no durability to worry about. He decides to go full tryhard and speedrun this boss. The Oathkeeper lunges. The strongest swordsman swings a massive claymore with glitch-like speed. Our MC parries the heavy blows. Guy hits like a truck, but he spots a huge lag in the knight's animation recovery. Good game, he thinks. He exploits the opening with a lethal counterstrike. The blade passes clean through. He waits for the victory banner, but nothing. The HP bar doesn't move. 0 damage. The title wasn't hype, this guy literally has God mode enabled. Fighting this tank with a sword is like fighting a forest fire with a squirt gun. Brute force is off the table. He rolls away from a slash. Timer check. 4 minutes and 21 seconds. He replays the tutorial tip. Wisdom that sees through everything. His eyes lock onto the creepy skeleton backpack. Click. He gets it. The Oathkeeper isn't fighting for himself. His entire aggro mechanism is tied to protecting that corpse. The shadow entity watches, amused. It thinks our boy is cooked, unable to scratch the invulnerable guardian. Clock hits 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Puzzle solved. Our MC changes targets. He ignores the heart and aims a precision strike straight at the knight's face. Slash. He cleanly severs the blindfold, covering the knight's eyes. The shadow observer gasps. Why didn't he go for the kill? Vision restored. Our boy shouts a command. Open your eyes. Look at what you're actually protecting. He forces the knight to confront the 4K reality. The person he swore to save is just a pile of calcium now. The Oathkeeper turns his head and sees the skeleton. His core directive shatters. Without the oath, the code deletes him. He crumbles into digital dust. Our boy stands in the loot, sparkles. The mechanic was obvious. The unkillable status was tied to the mission. He could only die if he realized he had already failed. And that sword at the start? Total bait to distract from the real solution. 51 seconds on the clock. He cuts through the fog, calling out the shadow lurking in the mist. The silhouette concedes that visibility is deceptive. The clearer the view, the harder the truth is to spot, but confirms our boy aced the test. He's officially worthy of the ultimate buff, leaving him wondering what kind of god-tier cheat code he's about to unlock. Just as he thinks he's cleared the level, a blinding blue light swallows him whole because, surprise, the tutorial was just a warm-up. The shadowy figure drops the bomb. The real trial starts now. If he wants the blessing, he has to tank the raw, unfiltered source of God's power. We're talking about a direct mental impact from the collective consciousness of every living thing in existence. Every desperate prayer, every scream of agony, every burst of euphoria, and even every toxic internet comment from billions of souls simultaneously. Instantly, the noise of humanity crashes into his mind. He hears everything, from wedding bells ringing to the first cries of newborns. He realizes this divine energy is fueled by pure faith, and instead of crumbling, under the psychic weight of the entire planet, he throws his head back and laughs like a total maniac. The rush of absorbing this overwhelming power is intoxicating because he knows this is exactly the kind of juice he needs to wreck the invading evil gods. The shadow watches, expecting him to fold like a lawn chair, but our boy just grins and asks if that's the best it can do. The entity is actually impressed, admitting our boy is the real deal, and finally bestows the blessing. It adds that once he recalls the god's true name, the ultimate power-up will drop. Our boy demands the name, but the trial space glitches out before he gets an answer. He snaps awake in his hospital bed with a system notification that explains everything. He unlocked a special blessing, Seraph Gabriel. The perk? Permanent immunity to all mental status effects. He realizes with a jolt that the mental instability plaguing him his whole life, the voices, the dissociation, wasn't illness. It was his link to Gabriel all along. The power to save the world was hiding inside his own diagnosis. He barely has a second to process this plot twist before reality crashes back in. The countdown timer reads 23 hours and 49 minutes remaining. His best friend, practically vibrating with excitement, shoves a tablet in his face, blasting a full simulation video of the game stage. The buddy is so hyped he's basically climbing onto the bed, forcing our boy to bonk him on the head and remind him this is a hospital, not an internet cafe. The friend apologizes but keeps raving about the ultra-realistic graphics. Mom watches their banter and smiles, thinking their friendship is adorable, completely clueless that her son is scheming to save the universe. Our boy checks the news and realizes the billionaire trio didn't waste a second. In less than 2 days, strategy guides have flooded the internet, and they've already launched the official player management task force. He wonders if the storm he started will be enough to help humanity spread its wings before the next apocalypse hits. Suddenly, a nurse bursts in, telling him to get outside immediately because his ride has arrived. The friend peeks out the window, and his jaw hits the floor. It's not just a car. It's an entire motorcade of limos, with enough security to invade a small nation. The heiress texts the friend, telling him to let Mr. Roki know they're here to transport him to his new crib. The friend turns to our boy with stars in his eyes, confirming the billionaires actually came through. Our boy hops out of bed, ready to roll, but his mom is skeptical. She eyes the fleet of black vehicles and whispers that if this involves the mob, they need to bail. Our boy reassures her that he hasn't broken any laws. He's just in the middle of a minor saving the world project. Mom looks confused, thinking her son is speaking nonsense again, while he takes a crunchy bite of an apple, and thinks that soon, everyone will know the truth. They pull up to option 1, a massive villa that looks more like a private resort. The blonde politician shows it off proudly, explaining it's a private estate nestled between mountains and water, complete with its own organic farm. It comes with 16 bodyguards and 8 housekeepers working shifts around the clock to guarantee absolute luxury. The friend's eyes turn into dollar signs as he tries to compute the value of a property that literally has no market price. The blonde says if Mr. Roki likes it, it's his. Cost? 0. The friend is ready to move in right now, but our boy takes one glance and casually says he'll check out the other options. The blonde is devastated, unable to read our boy's taste, while the friend looks like he just watched someone toss a winning lottery ticket into a bonfire. However, the tech overlord is secretly stoked. He smirks, thinking his time to shine has arrived, convinced that no red-blooded male could ever turn down the pad he picked out. He steps up with the swagger of a man who has never heard the word no. He unveils a penthouse overlooking the entire city, describing it as the penthouse suite of an iconic skyscraper. His buddy is instantly hooked, gazing out the glass like he's seeing paradise. The view offers that supreme, main character energy. But the tech tycoon hasn't even dropped the beat yet. One clap triggers the real perk. 10 domestic staff members who look less like cleaners and more like supermodels fresh off Fashion Week. They drop a synchronized bow, greeting our boy as master, and his friend's soul practically ascends to the afterlife. The guy is down bad. Turning crimson, he stammers about meeting goddesses while the ladies swarm our protagonist with offers of total devotion. The politician and the heiress watch this spectacle with pure cringe and envy, thinking, dang, why didn't we play the waifu card? The tycoon smirks, betting no red-blooded guy turns down a luxury pad, especially one with a built-in fan club. But our MC stares at the display with the dead eyes of a gamer spamming the skip button. On a boring cutscene, dropping 2 words, next option. The tycoon freezes, wondering if our hero's biological drive is currently offline. Meanwhile, the heiress grins, realizing this guy is truly built different, and decides it's her turn to shine. She steers them away from the skyline and into a humble, old-school district, admitting she did a deep dive on his history. She asks if the street rings a bell. Our boy stops cold. It hits him with a wave of intense déjà vu. His buddy clocks it immediately. This is the childhood home our hero lost when medical debt crushed his family. The 2 male billionaires instantly know they just took a massive L. This isn't real estate, it's a tactical nostalgia nuke. She reveals she hunted down the deed, bought it back, and restored every inch to match his memories 1-to-1. Our MC steps inside, feels the genuine soul she poured into it, and signs the deal on the spot. The heiress lights up like she hit the jackpot, while the blonde politician facepalms, realizing he completely misread the meta. With the living situation handled, our hero turns to his sidekick and demands the package. The heiress is confused, until the buddy casually digs a sweaty, crumpled ball of paper out of his wristband like it's trash. He hands over the ultimate walkthrough. For every second-tier stage, a file worth billions, kept warm right next to his sweat glands. The heiress looks ready to gag at the storage method, but our MC gives her strict orders. This intel is exclusive. She's to leak it only to high-potential players. He explains that, Prison Day demands players who can actually get good on their own. Giving the cheat sheet to everyone just breeds scrubs who will wipe later. He needs an elite squad to save the planet. The tycoons, grasping the sheer scale of his master plan, stare at him with a whole new level of respect. The game launch countdown begins, cutting to the best friend who is fully prepped for doomsday. He's hauling a fridge-sized backpack bursting with loot, telling Rohi's mom they're just going on a little trip. Mom asks for the destination, and the friend cheerfully lies that they're visiting a whole new world, which is technically a fact but infinitely more horrifying. The system clock hits 0, and the teleport sequence engages. As they pixelate away, our MC warns his buddy that there's no carrying this time. He has to clear his own level. The friend isn't phased, vowing to climb the leaderboards himself. Our hero spawns into the D-rank zone, the frozen apartments, noting it's a direct copy of his past run. The system prompts players to simply locate the boss and eliminate it within 5 minutes to win. Our boy knows this is a total lie designed to wipe out the clueless. The actual meta requires trusting a partner to kite one boss from the roof and one from the lobby, meeting halfway. The catch? This exact mechanic is how he got backstabbed in his last life, so his trust issues are screaming right now. He needs the most solid ally possible, so he burns his special permanent card, form a team, and summons his duo. Xiao, the silver-haired girl from the hospital, glitches into existence right in front of him, looking totally lost, asking where the hell she spawned this time. Our boy looks at the bewildered girl and casually drops the truth, that he personally drafted her into his nightmare level. He knows that in the original timeline, her tutorial was a survival horror fest on an isolated island that gave her enough trauma to keep therapists in business for decades. He refused to let her endure that island hellscape again, so he snatched her from that destiny and airdropped her into the frozen apartments instead. If you're gonna get scarred for life, better to do it with a homie. She asks how he knew about the island, but a system window pops up, welcoming players to the D-rank hell. She stares at the blue interface, realizing this is the Prison Day game from all those trending clips online. Our boy confirms it, telling her straight up that he needs a ride-or-die teammate, because in 90 seconds, that door unlocks to reveal pure nightmare fuel. She stares at his outstretched hand. Boom, core memory unlocked. Suddenly, she's back to being that bruised, lonely orphan, staring at the exact same hand, reaching out to save her. Back then, he just asked to play, but that hand was her literal lifeline. Fast forward to now, absolutely nothing has changed. She grips his hand, zero hesitation. She is fully locked in for this deadly game. Our MC turns around, making sure she remembers the strat. She nods. She's got the whole plan downloaded. Because look, this ain't your average apartment complex. It's a vertical death maze where monsters spawn like cheap jump scares in a D-list horror flick. To beat this level, they gotta bait the boss from the penthouse and the one from the basement, forcing them to clash right in the middle. Our boy nods. Just hyped to have a teammate who actually listens, unlike a certain bestie we all know. He pushes open the door to the hallway. Instantly, a blast of sub-zero air smacks them in the face. Yeah, the frozen part of the stage name? They weren't kidding. He promises they'll warm up once they farm some attribute cards, leading the charge straight toward the monster spawn zone. Right on cue, this dude with a knife stumbles out, shivering violently and looking like he's having the worst day of his life. He spots our MC and puts on this, thank God, a human face, acting all innocent and reliable. But our boy? He clocks him immediately as the